Hello, and welcome back to Going to College During COVID. Yes, it has been a couple of weeks. Not much has changed in the course of things. More of my courses have gone online, and I've turned in my first assignments. First grades have turned out pretty well. A's, A minuses, so nothing to complain about at the moment. Knock on wood. So, good, very good. ROTC has been quite interesting, getting up at 5 o'clock, 3-4 days a week to do exercises and everything from circuit training, running, to ruck marches. Thankfully, fingers crossed, I get knock on wood again. I have only one blister from the ruck march, so that is excellent in my book, nothing too painful. There were some people who hadn't broken in their boots and they had huge blisters, which I would imagine are none too comfortable. We've had a few cases of coronavirus on campus, a couple handfuls maybe, nothing too serious or enough to warrant the college shutting down. Testing procedures have been stepped up, as well as looking at wastewater. Those poor graduate students having to fish through wastewater. I do not envy them in the slightest. So, fun fact, Siena College, where I go, got named the #1 college in the capital region of New York State, which is shocking, since that honor has gone for the past couple of years to SUNY Albany, State University of New York at Albany. Because they have a Division I sports program, they're huge, so population-wise, they get more money and service a wider audience, so of course they're going to produce better results. But Siena beat them out for the #1 spot. It was Siena, then UAlbany, RPI, and then I think Russell Sage and College of St. Rose. So overall, doing pretty good. I've been attending Mass regularly, which has been interesting because of COVID. Obviously, you have to wear a mask during it. The baptismal water, which you usually bless yourself with when you enter, has been taken out because contamination, possible spreading of disease vector, and no wine, obviously. Of course, until you're 21, you're not supposed to be taking the wine anyway. And then the host, obviously. You have to take the host, and then you have to walk a certain distance before you can actually take it and consume it. So it has been interesting to say the least, and I've lectured, and it's interesting trying to lecture in a mask. You have to project your voice a lot. Another piece of good news, I got on the mock trial team, which is awesome. I got on the plaintiff side, and I'm actually an attorney on the team. So I'm flying high at the moment, because I was pretty difficult. Getting on the mock trial team here is very competitive, and it's very insular. So for me to get in and actually be an attorney on the plaintiff side on the actual playing team is a great honor, which I am thrilled to have bestowed upon me. Food is pretty good, decent. Serving size and quantity are much needed, except unless you go to Casey's, of course. In that case, you get a ton of food, but you have to spend either money or bonus bucks, so it can get a little expensive. But overall, pretty good. Time management has been a bit of a struggle, if you hadn't realized from my rather irregular upload schedule. I've been doing well at keeping my assignments and stuff balanced, but extracurricular stuff that I do, like making these videos, reading, writing, I've sort of had to slide to the back burner in favor of some of the other stuff I'm doing. ROTC, mock trial, Bonners, and homework being my most pressing concerns. But I've sort of got a schedule figured out, so there should be a more regular upload cycle coming in the near future. Not next week, because next week's going to be a pain. I have several appointments and stuff I have to do with several of my extracurricular activities that require me to travel, which means, yes, I'm sorry, we're going to be having another week of irregular uploads. But that shouldn't be an issue, since I'll be home this weekend, so I should be able to make and pre-upload some more videos than I typically would. So, I hope you guys look forward to that. I'm planning on probably coming out with a time management college version video for the upcoming week, as well as probably an introduction to a couple of the extracurricular activities I do to see what you guys may be interested in. And then, of course, I'm always looking for questions about college life, especially college during COVID, and seeing what your opinions, thoughts, questions are, and I'll try to answer them or discuss and respond to you in a timely manner, either through a video or through a comment chain. One thing I do have to say, though, is your stereotypical college experience definitely not happening during COVID. From both my perspective and talking to several of my friends, classmates, colleagues, it's very strange because I have to admit I've been going home most weekends because there's not a lot to do on campus. Most of it's gone virtual, which for obvious reasons is a necessity. I grant you that. But there's really nothing to keep a person who can travel home on campus because it's basically dead. It's quite quiet, boring, not much to do besides homework and read or play video games or something like that in your dorm room. A few people go out and do stuff they're not supposed to. I've heard the stories and seen several students kicked off campus because of their activities, but overall it's pretty quiet and dead on the weekends. Actually, I'd say most of the time it's pretty quiet and dead. Like, during classes, typically Mondays and Wednesdays are the busiest days, just for the fact that I believe they have the most in-person classes. The rest are online. And the dorms, hallways, bathrooms, laundry, they're pretty quiet most of the time. Like, obviously laundry, most of the time there's laundry going, and at least one of the machines, there's at least one or two people in the bathroom. But there's not so rush hours as would typically be expected from what you've probably heard from either parents or cousins or older siblings. It's not your standard college experience. As I mentioned in previous episodes about the orientation and moving in, COVID has drastically changed what it's like to go to college and be on campus. And I have to say, some of it I like and some of it I don't like. Like, I like the ability to actually take food out of the dining hall. Regular time you wouldn't be able to do that, but now they sort of have to allow for social distancing. And I like that because you can just grab a quick bite to eat and grab your food, go, and then you can like work on stuff while you're eating and not have to drag all of your books and laptop and stuff to the dining hall. Instead, you can just take your food back to your room. So I like that. But I don't like the lack of, activities on campus. Like, they're, visiting seminars, lecturers, school events. That's kind of, I kind of wish we had that, but what can you do at the time? And another thing I don't like is the online classes. I don't mind online classes. Like, I don't hate them, but I don't love them. I think that the best way to learn is to do in-person, hard copy, all the way. And especially with some of the older professors, they have a difficulty handling the technology, so it gives one pause for concern if you submit it online, whether they actually got it or not. And then there's, the whole thing of managing your time and trying to get schedules matched up for, like, office hours and the like, which is difficult under normal circumstances, and it's even more difficult now. And then my biggest pet peeve, and I know this may sound sort of like a rant, but I'm just telling you it like it is, my biggest pet peeve, at least at my college, the academics department emphasized that they wanted kids to do lots of group projects and discussions and assignments in order to keep students engaged while online, having to converse with people and actually work on the assignments, keep them accountable and actually sticking with the class, rather than just sitting back and going along for the ride. And sadly, I don't think that works, because group assignments are very difficult while virtual. You have to either, email or text or try to set up a Zoom call. And depending on which group you're in, if you know the people already, it's greatly simplified because you can actually talk with them on a personal basis. But if it's like with people you don't know or haven't met in person, it can be very awkward and weird to try to set up something. And then you always have the issue of, all right, who's going to contribute? We're missing someone, trying to get that someone to contribute before you have to turn in the assignment. And it's just a nightmare. And I think it would be far better used to just give single individual assignments and let it go from there, and let students form their own independent study groups, if that's what they choose, rather than sort of forcing us to do like these group assignments and projects. Now, I understand that we're all going to have to work together eventually in the workplace. We have to deal with people throughout our everyday lives. So I'm not saying I'm against group projects and assignments. I'm just saying that I'm sort of against these sort of busy work group projects and assignments, stuff that you can do by yourself that doesn't necessarily require a group. I'm all for discussion and talking, but I think it should be more natural and fluid rather than forced and regimented. And I also think that students should be able to form their own discussion and study groups and pick who they want for their projects, get to know people on a personal level, rather than being thrown into a random group and then expected to turn out high quality work. I think you wouldn't see that in a workplace, and you wouldn't see that in business or government. If you assign people to a group, usually they know each other ahead of time, or at least get to meet each other before they start working on it. And expecting that from college students who, most of the time, the only way to work with them is virtual because schedules don't match up or something like that, I think is a bit too much to ask. And especially, I did busy work group projects and stuff all the way through high school. We're in college now. I think it's time to sort of step up the game a little. But that's my opinion. Other than that, all systems go. Everything seems pretty normal and functioning as planned. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Please submit questions or ideas that you have for like future episodes and what you want me to talk about in my going to college during COVID journals. As always, this is the PNN Broadcast, signing off.